All right, on to our debate. In yet another tragic shooting incident, an Indian was shot dead while working at a gas station in Texas, United States. And Chandrasekhar Pole, a student at the University of North Texas and a native of Hyderabad, was shot by unidentified gunmen in Dallas. The victim was moved to the United States, or rather moved to the United States into 2023 for higher studies after finishing his bachelor's in dental surgery in Hyderabad, Telangana. Chief Minister Revanth Reddy condoled the death of Pole, saying that the incident has caused deep shock and anguish and grief. He also stated that the government stands by Chandrasekhar's family and that all possible assistance to bring his mortal remains back to his hometown will be provided. Chandrasekhar's mother stated that she had earlier been opposed to him moving abroad for higher studies. She added that despite her opposition, Chandrasekhar had insisted on moving to the US because he wanted to build a better future. His parents learnt of his death from his friends' parents who visited them and shared their grief. We'll talk about this and a lot more as to what's happening in the United States when it comes to the safety and security of Indians. Brinda Dige, a social activist, with us on the broadcast. Surinder Singh Lali, international affairs expert, also joins us on the show. Mr. Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist, is with us on this debate as well. And last but not the least, Professor Madhav Nalapat, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, joins us on the platform as well. Professor Nalapat, just as I said in my opening monologue, there seems to be, a staccato-like killing of an Indian every now and then in the United States. Is this, becoming the land of the intolerant from the land of the free now?
Well, the problem is that the people in the United States are totally free to buy guns. And they can keep entire armories in their house if they have the money and the inclination. And unfortunately, gun violence and gun culture has become a way of life in the United States. It shouldn't normally be associated with American way of life. Actually, this entire, allowing private citizens to have guns was during the early period when the army was not very strong. Today, the US is a very strong army. And frankly, there's no need for this kind of liberal terms for purchasing of guns. Unfortunately, those liberal terms remain, and as a consequence, we see this kind of deaths happening very often. About the Indian student, I think the second death within a month of an Indian. I think there was another case, a 50-year-old man who was killed, and this student also has been killed now. Now, I don't know what the motivation is. It could be envy of the fact that, the man may have come from a lower economic background, and he may feel that the student has taken over a job which actually belongs to a person of his background, because he may be aware of the fact that he's a student. That may be one hypothesis. The other is a random killing. I mean, the United States, unfortunately, is awash in these random killings. But as far as the Indian students are concerned, I think this is something they need to watch out for. There are certain sections of every town that are safe and certain sections that are not safe. Remember, Dallas was a place where President Kennedy was assassinated in 1963. So, I mean, unfortunately, gun culture is very widespread in Texas. So I think we have to be very cautious, when advising our youngsters who are studying there, and tell them to avoid working in unsafe zones of the city, especially during night, and to make sure that every precaution is taken that that they are kept safe from this kind of violence. So I'm really grieved at this, and I think our condolences will go to the family. But having said that, I'd like to say that this has unfortunately become very common in the United States, and it's not just Indian students. People are being killed around the clock. All kinds of people are being killed. You saw a Mormon church being attacked, the Church of Latter-day Saints, because the Mormons embraced a form of Christianity that the person who killed them was not favoring. Now, unfortunately, when you have a situation of rising joblessness, rising inflation, and lowering of incomes, then you have a tremendous amount of pent-up frustration, and occasionally that gets expressed very unjustifiably in acts of violence. And these are now being multiplying across the United States, especially because, unfortunately, the culture of hate has become much more widespread in the United States as a result of the complete polarization of politics and complete polarization of maybe even individual families on the basis of their political opinions. So I think Vinny is a very, very serious problem. And I think those who are sending their youngsters abroad to study, I think the youngsters should be told what to watch out for and take whatever precautions they can to ensure that this very tragic fate does not happen to them. Beneath.
You're absolutely right. Vrindaji, why do you think this is happening, and what kind of a deadly mixture are we looking at? On one hand, you have the Second Amendment in the United States, which allows you to have as many guns as you want. In fact, there are more guns in the United States than there are people in the United States. Secondly, you have a president who's cracked down not only on illegal immigration, but immigration as a whole as well. That definitely has exaggerated the anti-immigrant sentiment in the United States as well. Do you think the combination of these two elements is leading to people who are looking for a better life, or chasing that American dream, ending up in such situations?
Well, I think it is important for us to address two issues. Of course, the earlier panelists spoke about the gun culture, but we must remember that if somebody wants to kill somebody, harm somebody, they can do it with any other weapon also. But then you have mentioned this gun culture. So what is the role of the enforcement authorities when you make the statement that there are more guns than people? So a license has been given by the government. So the state has allowed for something like this. So what is the role now to protect others who may not have guns or who might become victims of these people? One side is racial hate and discrimination. The other is the rancor that they might have against immigrants because of the political narratives and of course patronage also. But I think the most important is the impunity with which they do something like this because they know they will get away. Rarely have we heard that they have been brought to court, they have been arrested, or the case has been brought to a logical conclusion where due punishment swiftly, stringently has been meted out to somebody who just took away somebody's life so randomly. Of course, we want to caution all our young people going there, greener pastures and better universities. Well, that is, they're not doing it free of cost. Of course, they are paying, so they are adding to the revenue of the US country. And all of this is not being talked about by the politicians. And that narrative is not there that immigrants are not poor beggars who are coming. Immigrants are coming there to study, immigrants are coming there to work, and they do better work, and they deliver better, they contribute more. So I think there is a lot of education that is completely missing from the government itself. So that political narrative that should strongly be talking about the contributions that immigrants bring in. They cannot club all immigrants together. There are this person, like you said, had already finished his dental graduation, gone there for higher studies, was working probably to pay his fees. So he wasn't begging, he wasn't taking away anything that is theirs. So I think it is time also my government speaks this language. Instead of saying, we will do everything to bring the body back, you jolly well bring it. That is your job. But besides that, what else must you be doing? We are a huge country. We have so many different relations. We have so many different businesses that people from the US are also doing in our country. We don't go around shooting everybody. We also have guns. But we don't go around shooting everybody. We see that, they are immigrants and they've come here, they've taken away my water, land and everything. And so let's shoot them. So we have a certain education that is going in. There are hate crimes here also. But I think that is the political narrative that we must demand of the US. That you, as politicians, as people who are asking for immigrants to come, you have your universities coming here and having various camps and talking about scholarships and giving less fees. so that you can get the best brains from India. So when you do all of these things, why have you not taken responsibility for our students who come there? Parents also send them, no? Saying that, okay, they are going to have better university education over there, and when they come back, they might have better job prospects or whatever it might be. But everything said and done, that is a personal decision and choice. What has my government done in the many killings that have happened? Today we are talking about Pole, but there have been so many in the past also. There have been women also who have been killed, and many of them are college students. What did they do to anybody out there? So we are talking of this random killing done with impunity and no other sound or noise coming out from our counselors or our embassies. So the question we want to ask our government, yes, we want to ask the US government, what the hell are they doing? But we also want to ask our embassies, have you put your foot down? Have you extended that protection, safety, and said that we demand answers and we demand logical conclusions to crimes that are being done in your state on our people?
Absolutely right. Gautam, the government needs to, in fact, speak its mind out. You know, if American citizens were meeting such a frequent fate in another country, you know, there would have been a lot of hue and cry about this. Why can't India do it?
It's an unequal relationship. There is no denying it. It's us who go there and take on risks of this order because we think having an American degree and with the kind of prospects there are for medical people to get permanent jobs over there, visas, and live the good life, they take the risks. Why they are killed in today's environment is not surprising. Both the other panelists have mentioned it. We can protest, and I'm sure we do, but our protests are unlikely to have very good results because they didn't ask us to come. And even if they did, even if they gave us a visa to go there, or they canvassed us to come to their universities, these are known risks. And in today's environment, we see this happening so frequently that the commonsensical answer is stop going to the United States. This is not a time when the United States is capable of looking after the life and limb of people of color and people of another country. There is hostility of all kinds because of economic upheaval. And it is a time when you are putting yourself at risk, whatever the potential rewards may be. Vineet.
Mr. Lali, what according to you has changed? You've spent a considerable time in the United States. What has changed? It definitely cannot just be the influence of MAGA. It cannot be the influence of Donald Trump. It cannot be, the right-wing jingoism.
Thank you, Vineet. Vineet, I come with a very heavy heart. My heartfelt condolences to the family. I mean, they'd much rather have their child bring back a box of chocolates than to come back in a box, himself or herself. Very unfortunate. Vineet, is far more complicated now than it was earlier. I mean, I've been a student. I was the first non-white to be elected as a president for International Student Association, which is ISA. And I also pumped gas both in New York and New Jersey while I was going to college. So I understand the vulnerabilities and the risk involved. And Professor Nalapat rightly said that the NRA lobby is very strong. It's not that just the Indians are being killed, but now things are different. Trump 2.0 is different. The way Donald J. Trump and his administration is demonizing immigrants, and an average American who lives in the Midwest or the South or in the Rust Belt states does not understand the difference between somebody who's a techie or somebody who is from a country in South America where he's a convicted drug lord. The America right now, the likes of Steve Bannon's are openly saying, and in the Christian nationalist movement, they want America to be white again, and that's why the H-1B visas are happening and everything is happening. So we need now, immigrants have been demonized and an Indian becomes an easy target. I mean, just 4 weeks ago, there was an American kid who, was caught, he killed, and when they checked his basement, he had a gun on which he had written "Nuke India." So Donald J. Trump has further demonized, polarized America to the point where they don't understand that they don't have STEM education. All they see that Indians are coming, brown skin are taking their jobs, and especially now when they see an Indian driving a much bigger car, an Indian having a much better iPhone, a bigger Indian having a much bigger house. So, they take a shortcut. And with the backing of the American administration, with the racist undertone that Donald J. Trump has taken, unfortunately, we're going to be even easy targets coming in the future. There are over 800 deaths since 2018. I mean, that's quite a lot. And an administration which is totally, the ideologies, validation and retribution. So it's very unfortunate that instead of celebrating the Indians who are the backbone of technology, I mean, imagine if an Indian by choice is going and pumping gas, it's not an easy job. I mean, the exposure that you get, even irrespective of what neighbor you're in. I mean, at 1 a.m. in the morning or 6 a.m. in the morning, you won't have Nobel laureates or professor from Harvard to come for a gas fill-up. You'll have all the wrong elements in the society, and especially when they have a gun underneath the seat of their car. It's a lot of exposure to it. I'm really concerned, and unfortunately, it hasn't gotten rock bottom yet. Maybe until America wakes up and smells the coffee. But I'm not too sure, as Gautam rightly said, that there is limited what we can do. I mean, America itself is on fire. Donald Trump is sending the army into all the democratic states, so they're undermining the police themselves. So is far more complicated, and our success as Indians, us being the richest minority, maybe it's time for us to be under the radar, because the diaspora has also gone absolutely quiet on it. So maybe it's time for the Indians out there to be under the radar, because we are very easy targets, and for somebody who's failed, who's under the influence of drugs, who has a very troubled childhood, will find this as a very easy escape.
Professor Nalapat, Mr. Lali is right. The Indian diaspora is extremely strong, is extremely powerful, donates a lot of money towards political campaigns. What kind of a dent can they make when it comes to the safety and security of Indians out there?
Well, actually, they can make quite a dent for a simple reason that many of them are now major donors to the campaigns of both the Democrats as well as the Republicans. Because as Surinder Singh Lali has very correctly said, they are the richest ethnic group in the United States. They are far richer than any other ethnic group. I think they are followed by Japanese Americans and then by Jewish Americans, but they are by far the richest. So they are major contributors. And if I may say so, I wouldn't entirely talk about racism, because Donald Trump has brought in several Indians into the administration, or several people of color into the administration. But the reality is that, there is a certain amount of undercurrent of resentment at the kind of progress and development that the Indian community in particular has been making. And secondly, there is a widespread feeling that Indians are easy targets, that Indians are the softest of soft targets, that they normally don't carry a gun, which is so true. They normally are people who do not like violence, which is true. So the risk of being, challenged and counterattacked is much lower, according to them, than it is for, the case of any other ethnic community. So unfortunately, the sad truth is that Indians are seen as a very soft target. And secondly, the fact that Indians are contributing so much to the US economy, in terms of taxes, in terms of services, in terms of other goods, I think much more needs to be done to draw attention to that, so that people realize in the United States, all citizens, that Indians are actually a huge net contribution to society rather than a net drain, which of course some sections of society are. So I think we need that kind of popular education should be there, and I quite agree with Mrs. Brinda, but that kind of public education is not there in the US, and as a consequence, I think we are seeing hate become widespread and hate crimes become more common beneath.
Absolutely right, sir. And you are, all, right in saying a number of things and perspectives in terms of what can be done and what's actually wrong here that's leading to this unnecessary loss of life.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.